So this video is like a litmus test to see if YouTube will allow me to upload the content that I want to, because Resident Evil is a super bloody game and it's kind of been a fear, which is weird because I'm such a small channel, so I don't know if YouTube will ever hit me with anything, but I do kind of think that this episode's a great test for that. With that being said, I'm going to answer the question in my own opinion if Resident Evil Requiem is worth playing right now. In my honest opinion, hell yeah. Resident Evil Requiem is a beautiful, beautiful combination of what makes Resident Evil great, from the survival horror to also having the action set pieces within the game. And I think that that's what makes this game super great. The thing that's interesting for me is that Resident Evil felt like it lost something after Resident Evil 4 for me, and that was the survival aspect of it. Leon, Chris, and all the other characters, because I didn't play 6, feel a little too competent in the game. They feel like they don't bring fear anymore, and I think that that's kind of what sucks, and it's interesting to see them bring that back within games like the remake, and also within games like 7 and 8, but even then I feel like at a point you get too comfortable. With this one, they kind of manage that, because you play as two characters. You play as obviously Leon, and you play as Grace. Grace is super squishy. Not the squishiest out there, but she is never truly to the level of Leon, and I think I kind of enjoy that a lot because it definitely does push with the survival horror. There's been multiple times in this game where I was too scared to move forward because I felt like I was so under-equipped, and I love that feeling. I feel like that's kind of what a survival horror game needs, is to feel super under-equipped. I remember counting bullets again, like when I was a kid. I remember the puzzles feeling even more scary because you don't have the comfort that Leon brings you. With that being said, that doesn't mean that Leon is bad or anything. That actually is what makes the game great, is it is that combination, because Leon is like coming home after a hard day of work or a hard day of school, depending on how old you are. You can tell I played Resident Evil at a young age. But it brings that comfort, it gets rid of that fear. It still kind of exists a little bit of the fear is now replaced with management, but it does definitely stick on to it being an action-heavy game, and I really enjoy it. Leon is definitely capable, and I love that. But realistically, the thing that I think makes this game worth it the most is it is a perfect blending of both styles of games, which is something that's very impressive to me. Because, like I said before, I feel like Resident Evil has been missing something, and this is the perfect way to answer that. And I feel like this should calm a lot of people's fears too, because if you didn't like 7 or 8, right, you could still play this game because there's Leon segments. I feel like there's more Leon. I don't know if that's exactly true, but it feels like I was playing as Leon more than I was playing as Grace. But then again, it might just be because Grace's levels, it can take longer if you don't know what you're doing, right? She can feel like she's longer, but either way, I like how it works. I like how you can upgrade Grace. I like how you can upgrade Leon too, but you get the point, right? I like how this game works, and I would definitely recommend it if you're somebody that likes Resident Evil, because there's so much in it that feels great. It feels great to come back to the police station, but it also is pushing you forward, and I think that that is what makes this so good at the end of the day. I cannot recommend it enough. The only reason why I think you wouldn't like this game in reality is maybe if you don't like one side too much, but you could definitely ignore it, or if you're an old head, and if so, we've been way past this, right? To be honest with you, we've been way past the days of classic Resident Evil. I don't think Capcom's gonna make it come back. I think the tanky controls is something that is very hard for people to get into. You could be mad at me for saying that. I defend them still. I think they're still fine, but I think that those days are over. There are fan games that definitely do that, and I think that that might be the way to go if that's what you're looking for. But all in all, I think that if you're a Resident Evil fan, you'll get some kind of satisfaction out of this game somewhere down the line. With all that being said, the only thing that I have of note that I really want to talk about outside of all the stuff I just said is that I did play this on the Switch 2 version, and I did have some minor issues with it, or issues that I had with it. One of them is that the game, for some reason, refuses to use the strap. Like, a glitch happens where the strap, like, instead of going around Leon, is jetting out. That's not really a big problem, I just think that's funny. My bigger problem with this game is that it does have a little bit of a frame rate issue in the Raccoon City start segment. That's one where I've noticed, where when you come from the underground subway system upwards, it sometimes has frame rate issues, but it's not that big of a deal. But it's the most noticeable to me when it happens. And last but not least, the sniper scope just kind of sucks for some reason, and I think that that's just mainly the Switch 2 version. Eventually, I'm going to loop back around to this game at some point, because I want to talk about every Resident Evil game, so we'll see if the PS5 version is better with that. I think realistically it is just the Switch 2 version. It feels to its detriment, because there's one segment where you need it and it's blurry as hell and it kind of sucks. Now, that's really it. I think the greatest thing about this, though, is that it is a competent version that is handheld, which is an absolute dream for the most part. We've had handheld Resident Evils, But regardless, I think this one is still great. It's just these are the shortcomings that I've noticed. With that being said, what are your thoughts? What is your favorite Resident Evil? Please leave it in the comment section below. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time here on Nostalgia Goggles. Bye!